Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are diving into some seriously paradigm-shifting research. Brand new findings from May 2026 are suggesting that the cosmos might be hiding a massive secret about how time itself actually operates. And honestly, it's about to completely reshape our understanding of wormholes, black holes, and literally the origins of our universe. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. We've all seen this image, right? The classic glowing sci-fi portal tearing through the fabric of space. But what if this whole picture is built on a fundamental misunderstanding? What if wormholes were never these cosmic tunnels or magical shortcuts for space travel at all? Today, we're totally challenging that sci-fi assumption and looking at what the actual physics tells us. To break this heavy physics concept down, we're going to walk through 5 easy-to-follow steps today. First, the sci-fi wormhole myth, then Einstein's original bridge, 2 arrows of time, the information paradox solved, and finally, echoes of a prior universe. So, starting with part 1, the sci-fi wormhole myth, and busting the idea of a cosmic shortcut. Look, pop culture has completely run away with this fantasy of macroscopic portals and traversable time machines. But the scientific reality, according to general relativity, it's entirely different. These theoretical structures are actually microscopic, and more importantly, they are strictly non-traversable. The math literally shows that any such bridge pinches off far faster than light could ever hope to travel through it. So a journey through one is completely forbidden by the laws of physics. They're basically just mathematical structures, definitely not portals. Let's move to part 2. Einstein's original bridge, stepping back to the 1935 original idea. And this brilliantly illustrates just how long these ideas have been bouncing around. Way back in 1935, Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen first introduced their bridge. Decades later, in 1974, Stephen Hawking reveals his famous information paradox about black holes. And it actually wasn't until the late 1980s that physicists really started speculating about crossing from one side to the other, which is what gave birth to the modern sci-fi interpretation we know today. It's wild to see how long these mysteries have been percolating prior to the groundbreaking 2026 research we're unpacking. So we need to completely redefine the core concept here. The Einstein-Rosen bridge is, in reality, a mathematical mirror in space-time connecting 2 microscopic arrows of time. See, the puzzle Einstein and Rosen were trying to solve way back then was never about space travel. Not at all. They were just trying to figure out how quantum fields behave in curved space-time. They basically needed a way to maintain consistency between gravity and quantum mechanics. The bridge wasn't a tunnel. It was always a mirror. Which brings us to part 3, 2 arrows of time, and the idea of reversing quantum time. Now, this is a bit difficult to grasp since we're macroscopic beings, right? But time is actually perfectly reversible at the microscopic level. In our everyday macro world, things fall apart. You drop a coffee mug, it shatters. It doesn't just magically reassemble itself. Entropy, or disorder, increases. That gives us our single forward-moving arrow of time. But down in the quantum microworld, the fundamental laws of physics really don't distinguish between past and future. Once you exclude infinities, quantum evolution is completely 100% reversible. The new research details the true nature of the bridge, noting that, in one, time flows forward, in the other, it flows backward from its mirror-reflected position. This incredible symmetry isn't just some neat philosophical preference either. It's an absolute physical necessity. Sure, in ordinary situations, physicists can kind of just ignore the time-reversed component, but when you get near black holes or in a collapsing universe, both time directions are strictly needed to describe a complete physical system. That takes us right into part 4, the information paradox solved, where we finally solve this mystery. To really get this, we have to ask a crucial question. Back in 1974, Stephen Hawking showed that black holes radiate heat and eventually evaporate. But quantum principles tell us that information literally cannot be destroyed. So if a black hole evaporates and disappears, and the information of what fell into it can't be lost, where does it go? This was the massive macro problem known as the black hole information paradox. So the crucial point is how this temporal mirror steps in to provide a really elegant microscopic solution. Think of it in steps. First, information falls toward the event horizon. Then, as it hits that point of no return, instead of just vanishing, the microscopic Einstein-Rosen bridge kicks in. It allows the information to pass across the horizon and simply continue evolving along the opposite, reversed temporal direction. That means completeness and causality are perfectly preserved. Nothing is truly lost, it just takes a reverse time exit. It's incredibly elegant, mainly because it doesn't require us to invent any crazy, untested new physics to make it work.
And finally, Part 5, Echoes of a Prior Universe and the Concept of the Big Bounce.
This entire framework connects to something just deeply, deeply profound. What we call the Big Bang might not have actually been the absolute beginning of everything. Instead, it might have been a big bounce. Essentially, a quantum transition between two time-reversed phases of cosmic evolution. Try to wrap your head around this. Our entire universe might just be the interior of a black hole that formed when a closed region of space-time collapsed in another, older parent cosmos. It collapsed, hit the temporal bridge, bounced back in a time-reversed phase, and then began expanding as the universe we observe today. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this isn't just pure speculation. Physicists actually believe evidence for this hidden, bouncing structure might already exist all around us right now. Take the cosmic microwave background, the literal afterglow of the Big Bang. It shows a tiny spatial asymmetry that our standard models struggle to explain, well, unless these mirror quantum components are included. On top of that, some of the invisible dark matter in our universe, it could actually be made of pre-bounced relics, like surviving smaller black holes that somehow made it through that temporal transition. The research puts it so beautifully here. Wormholes aren't necessary. The bridge is temporal, not spatial, and the Big Bang becomes a gateway, not a beginning. See, this entire framework doesn't overthrow Einstein's relativity or quantum physics. It beautifully completes them. It completely removed the need for conjectural sci-fi tropes or hyperspace, offering us a much deeper reality where space-time perfectly balances out these opposite directions of time. Which leaves us with this final, truly profound thought to ponder. If the Big Bang was truly just a temporal gateway from a prior universe, what will our universe eventually become a gateway for? If time really does flow both ways deep down in the microscopic world, the future of our expanding cosmos might be far stranger and, honestly, far more connected to the past than we ever dared to imagine. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.